Hey guys, what's up? This is Panther Dragon, and today we'll be going over the top 5 best junglers for solo queue. Now in patch 4.13, the jungle trio Evelynn, Elise, and Lee Sin have been nerfed, and so a wide variety of junglers have popped out into solo queue. So some previous strong junglers I believe are decent right now and gonna be in the top 5. So with that being said, let's get started. Alright, so previously it was Evelynn at number 5, but in patch 4.13 they did nerf her base damage, and so she can't build all tank, she has to build some damage to do actual damage, and so to replace her is Pantheon. So in the past they nerfed his ultimate, which was delayed by like 0.5 seconds, and it was kind of weird. Even though it doesn't really state it's delayed by 0.5 seconds, you just can't cast spells while you're coming down, but which was like 0.5 seconds later, but other than all that, there was really no nerfs to him. His early game is still strong, he's still a pretty good duelist, and his initiation is pretty good since he can collapse onto someone and slow everyone and do that damage. The only problem is he's kind of squishy if you don't really build all tank, but other than that, I do feel like he's a really good jungler. He can get bot level 6 and keep that bot lane pressure on. So yeah, he's my pick for number 5. Okay, so previously at number 4 was Jarvan, but he's actually moved up in this tier list, and to replace him is Elise. I mean, I do feel like she's still good, but right now people seem to be kind of deviating from her. She's not picked as much, even though the nerfs were really minor. It's just, I guess she's kind of falling out of flavor. Her cocoon is somewhat the same to hit, it just doesn't hit like shots where you would be like, oh, that shouldn't have hit, but it did, and then you would land a kill. And obviously the repel nerf is to nerf her gap closing ability, or just jumping to a minion to retreat and disengage. But I mean, you know, she's still good. She still has her like turret diving ability. She still brings that early game pressure, and she still has that objective control. Although there's two things I don't really like. One is a bug where you're using your repel and projectiles coming into you will still hit you, which means if you're turret diving and you repel, you still might be hit by that last shot, which could cause you death or something. But yeah, if you have good decision making, you'll be good with her since you know what ganks to do and turret dives, etc, etc. So previously at number 3 was Lee Sin. But as you know, in the latest patch, his attack speed debuff has been removed and the shield has been reduced by 2 seconds. So yeah, his utility got kinda nerfed with the shield duration. He can't duel as hard as he could before. He's still a good duelist, but to replace him is Kha'Zix. Kha'Zix is pretty good right now. He kind of has a new playstyle. He kind of just pokes the enemy with his W, evolving the W, and then just poking them and, you know, having that 50% slow onto the enemy. And once enemies start fighting and get low, he can jump in and clean up the kills and jump out, or jump back in to get more kills. And they also reverted the base damage on his Q on patch 4.12 back to its original state where it's at 170 at max level. Although 8% of missing health damage extra is gone, it still does a decent amount of damage if people aren't isolated. His collisions are also very fast with void spikes, since they do 20% more damage to the creeps. And yeah, he's not as OP as he was before with the 50% damage reduction when he was stealth, but with the nerfs to the triple trio junglers, he's becoming more popular than ever. Just don't play him if your team has no tanks. And at number 2 previously was Rengar, but you'll see him somewhere else in this tier list. And replacing him is Jarvan. So yeah, he's always been in my tier list. I always think he's a really good jungler, he's a really good tank, has a lot of early game damage and base damage. He's really strong when it comes to initiating, as he does trap people for 3 seconds, and he works well with all AD comps. And the thing I like about Jarvan is he can build some offense or all offense and carry a game, or if he's behind he can go full tank and be useful for his team and just tank for his team so they can do DPS. And his EQ combo is on like a 4-second cooldown or something. You can Q the flag twice and get a double knockup, which is really good. And yeah, I just feel like he's really dominant for solo queue, and he's a champion I would pick if Rengar is banned. So at number 1 was Rengar, but previously was Elise. Even if Elise didn't get nerfed, I do feel like Rengar will be more powerful than her. And like I said previously, Elise wasn't nerfed that much, it's just there are some other junglers popping into play. And so like I said in the previous jungle tier list, Rengar is like a Nocturne 2.0 version, except that he can get his CC onto people instantly, and it's hard CC. It's like 1.75 seconds, while Nocturne has to wait to tether people and people could flash out or whatever. And that root does come back once he gets enough Ferocity Sex for the second time. And yeah, he's just really good at catching people, especially mages like Ziggs, Xerath. He can easily lock them down for his team to focus. And then he becomes a decent tank since his roar does give him bonus armor and magic resist, so that's kind of good to have when you're diving into 5 people. But honestly, the biggest pro about Rengar is how low the cooldown on his ultimate is. Because I don't think what people know, even though it says 120 seconds, but the cooldown starts when he presses his R, and so when you're walking down that lane stealth, the cooldown on your R is still ticking down, and so it's actually up quite often. And yeah, I guess the biggest thing about him is since he's like a mini Nocturne, you can't really see him coming, you have to predict where he is, etc, etc. And so he's really good at picking people off and locking down enemy squishies. So yeah, thank you for watching my video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please like, subscribe, and comment below. This is probably going to be one of the last tier lists I do for a while, since I want to just do other things, or if I ever do a tier list, it'll be more quick, condensed, and not split into 5 videos. And yeah, that's the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.